Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. If you guys didn't know, there is a new sale going on in War Thunder, the Christmas sale, winter sale, whatever you want to call it, and it is basically running from December 26th at 12 GMT all the way until January 2nd at 12 GMT. And in this video, I'll just be going over the real basic details of the sale, showing you what is on sale, and also doing a very quick buyer's guide on each of these vehicles, just that way you can kind of see whether or not they might be worth purchasing. Now, bear in mind, I've got reviews on pretty much every one of these vehicles, so if you guys want more details, you have any questions about them, definitely go ahead and check out those reviews, because with the exception of battleships, I think I've got reviews, like I said, on every single vehicle here. Now, that said, again, let's just kind of get into it. This vehicle sale will be running from December 26th, again, 12 GMT until January 2nd at 12 GMT, and there will be 3 vehicle packs that will be removed from sale once this sale is over on January 2nd. So those vehicle packs are the Super AMX 30, the Deploy, which is a French ship, and also the Centurion AVRE. So once this is over, you'll no longer be able to purchase those packs. No word on if they'll come back in the future, maybe as Golden Eagle vehicles. It's definitely possible, but we'll have to wait and see. Typically, what this means is that in the future, especially with the AMX 30 Super, we will see a replacement. A Golden Eagle or a premium pack tank that will replace it in the future. I'm assuming some sort of a Leclerc variant, but we'll have to wait and see. So I'm going to be running through this buyer's guide real quick because I am a touch sick, and today is our Christmas. We didn't really have the chance to celebrate it yesterday, so I've got very little time to do this. So that said, let's go ahead and just do a sprint. F4S, do I like it? It's okay. It's a very powerful CAS aircraft, a little basic in that regard. It's got okay air-to-air capabilities, not really great performance in terms of overall maneuverability, decent in terms of speed, but it really comes down to it having to face much tougher opponents than it. I like it, not as much the F5C. I would really only recommend it if somebody needed something as an 11.0 BR aircraft. Next up, MiG-23ML. I think that this is a bit more capable than the F4S, at least in my opinion. Insofar as BVR is concerned, this is a bit more capable. I do like it a touch more than that. Sure, I do recommend it. But again, I've got reviews on all of these vehicles, with the exception of ships. So definitely check that out. F5C, this thing is, 10.3 BR, rank 7, faces a pretty decent group of vehicles. Yeah, I recommend this. I still do. I think it's like a tier A or tier S. I'll go ahead and link my tier videos down below if you guys are curious. But I do recommend this. Terms T, this thing is 10.0 BR. I think it's got Gen 2, Gen 3 thermals. It's got great firepower, good armor, decent mobility. There's not really all too many weaknesses in this. Plus it has ERA, which is overvalued in War Thunder. 100% recommend. Next up, we have the A10A Early. This thing is a great CAS aircraft. It's got AGM 65, I believe, Bs, and it also has AIM-9Ls. It's very slow, but it can also carry 20mm gun pods underneath it. So do I like it? I do, but it's also rank 6, $30. Personally, for another $2.50, you can get the F5C, which I feel is a better deal. This is a rank 7. It's better for Air RB than the A10A, but of course the A10A is a really good CAS aircraft. So do I recommend it? If you need more of a CAS aircraft, yeah, this thing is perfectly good, so yes. Next up, we have the K9 Vidar. This thing is ridiculously powerful. It's the K9 Vader, the Darth Vader, so to speak. It's got very good shells. It can pretty much one-shot anything if you, shoot in the right spots, and that includes in up tiers. This thing is really decently quick. It's got, I think, a laser rangefinder. Yeah, I 100% recommend it, even though it's only on sale for 30%. Still a fantastic vehicle. Next up, we have the M1 KVT. It's a decent vehicle. It's not bad, but one of the problems with it is it just doesn't really have a ton of firepower. Unfortunately. So being that it doesn't have a ton of firepower, I think it's kind of like relatively low armor penning, like below 400mm of armor pen, if I'm not mistaken. It's not terrible, but I'm not going to, put this up on the upper echelon. It's an okay vehicle. If you really need something that's a rank 7 ground vehicle, I mean, it's not bad, but I'd probably just wait for the new M1A1 HC clickbait to go on sale. It's a little bit more useful in my opinion, and even though it does have some armor issues, I think it's a little bit better at rank 7 than the M1 KVT. Next, we have the Leopard 2A4 pack. Yeah, 100%. This is a great mix of mobility, firepower, armor, 100%. love it, love it, love it. Next, we have the Kfir Canard. This is another one. I mean, like, when it's built on a platform that can really do, like, one thing or, like, one and a half things, it's a little bit difficult. This is actually a pretty capable vehicle, but it's more so based on speed. It's kind of like a French Israeli version of the F4, except with fewer things that it can fire. It's got decent enough anti-aircraft ordnance. It's got decent enough CAS ordnance. It's not a bad aircraft at all. It's just a little bit limited. Do I recommend it? If you really need something, you really can't go wrong with this. It's not a bad aircraft at all, but you really have to kind of get used to it. Next up, we have the MiG-21 Lazar M. Yeah, I like this thing a lot. MiG-21 BIS fans, you will not hate this thing at all. This is pretty much just a MiG-21 BIS. It's a really, really good aircraft. It can carry up to 6 R-60Ms, if I'm not mistaken, and it's just a really decent overall aircraft, in my opinion, much better than the Tornado IDS WTD-61. So yeah, I do recommend this, especially if you need something for anti-air, although it can do CAS in a pinch. Next, we have the A6E Tram Intruder. I personally like it. You know, I mean, this can carry AIM-9Ls, up to 4 of them, but it does not have a gun standard on it, so you would have to give up one of those pylons that you'd fit an AIM-9L on it for a 20mm gun pod. I do like it. It's a bit poor when it comes to performance, but it's got better performance than the A10. Plus, it can also carry a whole host of CAS weaponry. So it's not as biased towards CAS as the A10, but it's still really, really good in that. And it's better, in my opinion, in terms of air RB than the A10, at least if you don't mind the fact that this doesn't have a standard gun on it. So do I recommend it? Yeah, I do. It's tough to say. I don't really recommend it as much as the F5C, at least if you care about performance, but I probably recommend this a touch more than the A10A early, at least while it's on sale, because it's only $5 more. It's a rank 7, and you also get 500 more Golden Eagles plus 5 days extra premium time. Next up, Su-39. Don't recommend it. This thing is in such a tough spot right now. Even though it's got R-73s, just don't recommend it. You know, it's basically got the same firepower, the same performance rather, as the Su-25. No. It's just not in a good spot right now. Next, the AH-64A Apache. This is one of those vehicles that honestly I don't really know a ton about, so unfortunately I will have to skip it. When it comes to helicopters, that is the other thing where I just can't really tell you anything about, and I don't want to lead you guys in the wrong direction. You know, it's just not something that, if I don't know something, I'm not going to act like I do. Next up, we have the King Tiger pack. This is basically a King Tiger with the 88mm cannon, except with slightly better horsepower. So I think it's got 750 horsepower plus the engine, hits that max horsepower to slightly lower RPM. Yeah, I mean, I like it. You really can't go wrong with the King Tiger. I'm a huge fan of King Tigers. Love this thing. 20 bucks, not a bad deal. Plus, you get yourself some premium time Golden Eagles. For rank 4 premium, yeah, really, really good. Next, we have the Type 16 FPS. Another one. I mean, you really can't go wrong with wheeled tank destroyers. This is considered a light tank, but it's essentially a tank destroyer. Love it. You know, it's just very powerful cannon. I think it's a 105 if I'm not mistaken. But it's also got, I think, Gen 2 thermals if I'm not mistaken. Overall, great package. Very similar to like the Ruocat 105, the Centuri or the Centauro, and all those other things. Just a very good vehicle. Next up, the Arkansas. Honestly, again, don't know much about it. It's a ship. Don't play it. I've never played it, so I can't speak on it, unfortunately. Next, the T-29. I think I rated this like 4th out of like the 4 big rank 4 heavy tanks after the King Tiger, after the IS-6 and the Samua SM. So is it good? Yeah, I mean, it's decent. It's not a bad vehicle by any means. If you really want an American rank 4, it's not a bad vehicle. However, it's just not really as well balanced as a lot of the other ones. I'd say the King Tiger any day of the week above it. But if you really want a rank 4 American, I can't say that it's bad. It's an okay vehicle. Do I recommend it 100%? Kind of, but not really. Next up, Wyvern. This thing is ridiculously powerful. It's got great cannon armament. It's got great speed. It's got great CAS. Really good vehicle. 100% recommended, especially for only $15. Next up, we have the Mustang pack, the P-51 D-20. Really good aircraft, actually. I was surprised by how good this thing was. More so when it comes to dogfighting, anti-air, that sort of thing. However, it's also decent in a pinch when it comes to close air support. You can carry a few 1,000-pound bombs. You really can't go wrong with it. Do I recommend it? Yes. But, you know, I mean, it's not like an incredibly great vehicle, but it's decent enough. Also, it says here that you get 2,000 Golden Eagles with it. So I'm not sure if that's a typo or what, but that's 1,000 more Golden Eagles than you get with the Wyvern. and it's the same price. So hey, if you can get that deal, may as well. It's only $15. It's not too terrible. Next, we have the Object 120. This thing is ultra fast, has an incredibly powerful cannon, and fires APF SDS. I mean, I personally really like it. It's got a huge cannon, but again, very minimal armor. It's great if you're a sniper, if you like the gameplay of a tank destroyer. This thing is amazing, and in that way, I do recommend it, but you do have to remember, this thing has minimal armor, so if you're the type that likes to get into other vehicles' faces, this might not be for you. Next, we have the Murat. Again, ship, unfortunately, I cannot speak on it. Next, we have the M51. A lot of people will swear by this thing, and a lot of people probably say that it's better than I'm about to give it credit for, but it has no armor, it's got mediocre mobility, and its cannon is good if you hit an enemy, but it only fires heat. So basically, if you hit the enemy, a lot of the time it'll just do a very limited post-pen pattern, so it'll go through a lot of armor. However, you really have to make sure that you're aiming at the right spot. Plus, if you hit something beforehand, like a tree, this is not going to go through it. You know, it's going to blow up early if it hits any obstacle beforehand. I personally don't recommend it, but that's just me. Also, because this is a rank 4 Israeli vehicle, there's no vehicles before it. Like, there's no rank 1, 2. I believe there's no rank 3 for Israel, at least currently. If there is, it's very limited. So your value proposition for this thing is extremely minimal. Next, the Super AMX-30. This thing I actually really like. So it has minimal armor, but it's got a very good cannon, and it's got excellent mobility. It's a very slept-on vehicle, and I'm not just saying this because it's going off a sale on January 2nd. I like this thing a lot. I'd say it's like around a mid-tier, tier 6 tank, premium tank, but it's still really powerful. If you're that type of person that likes flanking, this thing can be great. Next, we have the AVRE. This is actually one of those things I was working on a review for it, but I don't really know if I'll have the time before the sale ends. But it's powerful. It's got ERA, which is really cool at this BR. I think it's a 7.0 BR vehicle in ground. I like it in some ways, but it's very difficult to get used to that cannon. It has a terrible muzzle velocity. So, do I recommend it? I mean, if you're good with your rangefinder, this thing could be a godsend. If you're not, I do not recommend it. It's really that kind of way, I guess you might be able to say about it. And then, of course, we have all the starter packs and all that. So let's just kind of go over this real quick. German starter pack. I mean, really, all the starter packs, you really can't go wrong with them. You know what? I'm just going to say that in general. I like the French starter pack the most. The B1 Terra is amazing. Plus, I mean, with all these, you get 120,000 Silver Lions, premium account, all that. For $250, you get 120,000 Silver Lions and 7 days of premium time. You cannot go wrong. Prinz Eugen, I actually really like this thing. It's a great vehicle overall. It's a heavy cruiser for the German. This thing has excellent anti-aircraft armament, and it also has a pretty decent cannon armament. So yeah, I do recommend that. And the Duplo, I do not know anything about it, unfortunately, but I would imagine it's okay. Who knows? So that being said, again, when it comes to the starter packs, French is my favorite, although all of these have their own charm. They're all pretty decent in their own rights. But either way, thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But thanks again. I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.